Hey, good afternoon, Sunday afternoon, everybody. Tom Davis back with Rawlings Tigers Elite and Student Athlete World Recruiting. I'm the director of recruiting for them. Got a great interview today. I've been doing interviews with coaches and everything and posting them out. And some people were like, "Yay, you got to sit there and talk to some of our good travel ball coaches and all that." And I'm proud to have Craig Brumfield on here today. He's coached at the ranks, gives lessons, does travel ball and everything. Without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Craig and let him give you some background and a bio on himself. How you doing, Craig?
Doing well, Coach. Thanks so much.
Good, good. Hey, you're going to have people talking. I know West Virginia baseball connection will love this. Some places in Ohio and all that. So, give me your background. Give me your bio and what you're doing.
Well, Coach, I started off my career playing at Marshall University from 92 to 95. I was fortunate enough to be able to play in the summers in the New York Collegiate League and the Cape Cod League. Able to kind of travel and get around and see some of the country that a West Virginia guy doesn't necessarily always get to see. Then I kind of laid down baseball for a while. Went to work, started raising a family, and then 8 years ago or so, I made the decision to had a lot of interest in people wanting me to teach lessons. And so I made the jump and I started kind of giving lessons in the evening, and it just evolved into what it is today. And baseball is all I do now. So I coach the Ohio Elite in the summers. The past few summers, I've coached the older division, 17-year-old division. I went back and took a 15-year-old team this year, and I'm going to graduate those guys up through over the next 3 years. Our goal is to, if you play for us, is you're going to play college baseball. Now, does that mean it's 100% what we do? Every kid that plays? No. But every kid that wants to play college baseball will play college baseball that plays for us if they graduate through the program. We're really proud with what we've been able to do over the past few years, 6 or 7 years. I think it's been 60-some kids we've been able to assist in going on to get some sort of education paid for through baseball. I was talking to one of the kids the other day, one of my first kids that I ever got to college. He's kind of jumped around, but we were talking, he went to D2, then went back to JUCO, then went D1. Now he's entering his last year, and he's, because of COVID and different circumstances, he's like a 6-year senior or something. But we were talking about just the journey and how great it's been for him, what he's been able to do, how much education he's been able to get because of baseball. And those things are rewarding, and that's what it's all about.
Sure.
These things with us, we're like a family, and we try to stress that. And we have a lot of different philosophies that we do with our teams, but you see a lot of the teams that we play, and you see the guys going to Florida State and Louisville and Vanderbilt and wherever, all over the SEC, and they come to the end of the game and it's 2-1 us or 3-1 us. And we've got college guys all over the field, but we don't necessarily have, we have one kid on our team this summer that went to Indiana, which is a really good signee. But we don't have a kid going to Vanderbilt at every position. So what we have to do is we stress playing for each other and the team concept, and we're able to compete on a very, very high level. I think we finished 42nd in the country last year. By perfect game statistics, and ended the season on a 40 wins, 3 losses, and 2 ties from July 1st on. And so we stress that in order for us to be as good as we can be individually, we have to be as good as we can be collectively. Sure. And so, talking to these college coaches, if I'm calling a college coach for you, that guy doesn't want to know how good you are. He doesn't. That's not what he asked me. What he asked me is the first thing is what are his grades? That's the first thing I get every time. Then it is what kind of teammate is he? And then it's what kind of family does he come from? And so, people can go out there and bat flip and do all those things and have fun in the game and all that kind of stuff. But that is more of a me concept, and they see it on television. And I continuously tell them, once you get paid, you can do whatever you want to do.
You sound familiar to me on that one.
And until then, we need to try to keep within the parameters of what we're trying to accomplish here. And so I think by doing that over the past, instilling that, we were able to go compete with much more, I hate to say talented teams, because we're a very talented team. Like I said, we have 18 kids on the roster last year, and 2 of those kids won't play because they're going to play another sport. Other than that, everyone has an opportunity to play, and like 7 or 8 of them are already signed. So, and those are good kids are going to be seniors this year. So we're going to end up having 13, 14 kids off that team that play college baseball. So it's not like we're dealing with an untalented roster. Yep. But I don't think some people realize what's out there as far as the competition goes when you line up and the center fielder is 6'4", 220 pounds, running a 6'6", 60 and going to Florida State. So, it's we enjoy it. We enjoy the competition. We enjoy competing. Kelly Ratcliffe, the owner at Ohio Elite's been great to me. He's a great guy. He's a great asset to have in your corner. He's got a lot of contacts. That was one of the things that the marriage between he and I kind of really hit it off, because I knew some of the guys that he didn't, and he knew a lot of the guys that I didn't. So he's been able to expand my Rolodex for these kids and be able to make phone calls for kids, and I've been able to expand, like I said, my Rolodex as far as who I have that I can call that trust me. And my main job is that I've got to be truthful with these guys as far as these coaches, because as soon as I'm not, I quit getting phone calls saying I need a shortstop, or I need a second baseman, or I need a big bat, or I need a big arm. Those kind of questions don't come when you tell them a guy throws 90 and he shows up at 84. So you got to, you can't blow these guys up. You can't get overzealous in what you're trying to do for your kids, because you actually affect kids down the road that you could help. So you have to be honest with the college coaches, and you got to be honest with your players. Little Johnny's always dreamed of going and playing at West Virginia, but little Johnny can't play at West Virginia. Little Johnny may have to go to a D2 or a D3, and there is nothing wrong with that. 2% of the high school baseball players, I think it's less than 2%, play Division I, and then I think it's less than 2% of those, or 2% play D2, and I think it's 3% that play D3, somewhere around. I don't quote me on those, but that's about the number. So it looks about like 7% of high school players get to play college baseball. I think you should feel pretty lucky with that, and feel pretty fortunate with the talent that God's given you and the way you've been able to develop it. So, yeah, you've got to be honest with the players. You cannot you have to set realistic expectations for what they're going to do in the next 4 years. I sit down and I talk with these kids frequently. One of the big things we like to talk about is not where do I want to be tomorrow, but where do I want to be at the end of my college career? What's most important to me? Do I want to play for championships? Do I want a degree? Do I want, what is most important to you? And as long as they're honest with you, you can help them make a decision. Because if he wants to go play for championships and get an education along the way, you're not going to send him to a school that don't compete like that. You may have to go down a level, but if you want to go win, yeah, you probably need to go down a level and go to an elite program. If your goal is the best degree you can get, you find the best education and you go there. You may be on a 500 team or a 400 team, but your goal is to get an education. So here's where your best fit is. And that's one of the reasons that the transfer portal, about 40% of the guys that go in as freshmen end up in the transfer portal. And the reason that is because, they don't define their expectations before they get there. And, it's a lot of kids get smacked in the face too that weren't necessarily told the truth, that have been told nothing but they're good all their life. And so when they get there and they figure out, well, there's 30 guys around me that are just as good, if not better. And now, I got to go to work.
Sure.
And then you get, well, the coaches are mean to me and all that kind of stuff. And so, what they find out with a lot of these kids is that it's not necessarily, they may fall in love with their next coach that's telling them the same thing their first coach did. It's just the first coach was the first one to tell them that. So then he's the bad guy.
Yep.
I can remember dealing with situations where younger kids that are really elite pitchers, but aren't necessarily great position players or great hitters. And they've been on your team since they were 12 or 13 or whatever, and they're 16 now. And you say, hey, you're a pitcher. And if you want to make it this game, you need to be a PO or a pitcher only. Well, the first guy that tells them that is the bad guy. The next guy is the hero because, I'm pitching now and I'm going to play college. So these kids aren't used to be, a lot of these kids aren't used to be told the truth. And that's one of the things. You got to be honest with them. You got to be honest with the college coaches. And you have to be honest with yourself as far as putting them where they need to go.
Exactly. You know what? You bring up a ton of good points, and you can see me smiling as you're saying stuff. You're a lot like me. We do the same business. I mean, I've coached high school. Right now, I'm involved with Rawlings Elite. I know Ohio. I know you guys very well. I've seen you guys out playing. The past 2 years, I haven't been coaching because I got out of Mars when Coach Bednar left there, and of course his son, who's down at Mississippi State throwing now and looking this year, he'll probably be one of the top 15 kids pulled in the draft, throwing 96, 97. He's a weekend starter for them down there, and it's like you said. You know what? There you look at that kid, and then Tyrus and some of the other pitchers, the Gage Bibies and everything like that. Great people. And the funny thing that you say, we have these kids that aren't like this elite talent of what we're playing and all that. But the one thing, and it's very important, and you hit on it, is when you play and you have a good culture as a team, I will tell you what, you can go out and you learn how to battle and do all the little things. Like I said, these teams, you know what, the teams you're playing like that, they're not used to being in a battle for 7 to 9 innings. They get in the 5th inning and it's like they get tight to where your kids are loose. I mean, I tell my teams that all the time, and it's like you got to go out there every day ready to battle, ready to put it on somebody. The more you let somebody hang around, feel good, then all at once they start making plays, doing this, and you can just see it. And it's like, okay, you could ask my kids because they're always, they'll come in. I said, okay, guys, now we've made this a dog fight. Who's gonna make the play or who's gonna not make the play? This is what it's gonna come down to, because we've been there, and they know that, and they accept it. And there's times I think that they enjoy it, and hey, times they've gotten caught because of it. But the other great thing, you do. Yeah, you're a coach that loves to sit there and help people go to the next level. That's my full-time job, and then I work coaching for Rawlings and doing stuff for them. January, I have 11 inches of snow up here in Pittsburgh right now. January 15th, I cannot wait to get on the plane, head to Fort Myers. Rawlings put together its first national team. It's a 15U. We have kids from Las Vegas, Cincy, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, West Virginia kid. I'm gonna give him a shout out here. He's 15 years old, but he's gonna play on my 18U team. Catcher named Wyatt Shears is gonna sit there and he got invited. Very good talent. It's gonna be good to have people see him. Tom, hey, give me the kid's information, want him radared and everything like that. So it's like you say, we do an important thing in getting people in the right places to be seen at the right time. And like you said, I mean, you're a phone call guy, I'm a phone call, and even, my wife can tell you there's time. this morning I was getting ready to do a football interview with a former client of mine that went to Capital, who's now a defensive backup at the University of New Hampshire. And I was actually setting up interviews for next week because I'll be talking to everybody. She's like, my God, is there ever, did you ever get off the phone? Is it ever? And I said, when you get in this, you could tell you're passionate and love it the same as me. Want to get into some aspects now. West Virginia's kind of unique. I mean, we were talking about it before we came on here, and when I went into the recruiting business over 7 years ago with Student Athlete World, it was, we're a service, but it's a little bit different. I talked to some other agencies and all that. I'm not about building a kid a profile and then, you know what? Yeah, there's 10,000 people on that network, and it's about colleges coming in and doing their own work, sifting through 10,000 people and everything like that. Oh, hey, it's nice like that. I'm a lot like you. I teach my kids. You have to be proactive. You have to go after what you want. You know what? I tell them when I'm getting ready to sign, your parents made a great investment. I'm going to do a bang-up job promoting, marketing you, getting you in the exposure places that are right for you. And it's like you said, being honest and true. No, you know what? I mean, you're throwing 78 to 80 miles an hour, and everything like that. You're not going to get picked up D1, but there is a niche for you. And if you sit there and look, I mean, as well as I do. I have kids that are Division I talent and all that, playing Division III baseball. Comes down to financial stuff. They're great students. They're going to get more money going to a D3, playing every day, probably being that big fish in a smaller pond, and, get a great education to come out and do well in the world, owe less money. So there's a lot of aspects like we've both talked about that goes into playing recruiting process, being honest with your talent. And it's like you said, if I call Coach Mays at West Virginia and I send him a kid that's a D3 talent, I might get the one phone call. He's like, Tom, you've been pretty good, but I just don't see it here. And I tell them, our reputations are on the line. If I think that you can play there, you know what? I mean, I've sat there and fought with coaches and said, if you don't take this kid, you're making a huge mistake. I think that you're missing the boat on. And if I'm fighting for you like that, you're fighting for them like that. These coaches know that. I mean, you're credible and I'm credible, and it just makes it that much easier. But I want to get into now,
Coach, you still there? You froze up on me.
Hey, I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Coach? Coach, you there? Coach? Coach, you there? Ah, that's his phone. He froze up. I'm sorry, we had a couple technical difficulties here between Coach Brumfield and myself. See if he hits the admit button and can get himself back here. Sorry about this, folks. You're good, Coach. Sorry about that, guys. Had a little technical glitch there, but seems like Coach Brumfield and myself got it fixed here. I'm going to ask Coach, his theory, high school and travel ball. He knows a lot about it in West Virginia and some of the rules and some people's beliefs. I mean, I see it all the time. He sees it to where people are asking, what should we play? Because you can't play it at the same time. And there are some other niches that are through the state governing body that damper the game with some rules. Pennsylvania is a little different. I can coach high school, and I can move right into coaching a travel organization. Talk a little bit, Coach, about how things are and your thoughts on high school and travel baseball in West Virginia.
Well, you can't if you're playing in a WVSSAC sanctioned on a baseball team, middle school or high school, you can't play travel ball during the time that team is participating with the school. And honestly, I agree with that in high school. These guys can't burn the candle at both ends. They can't. They wouldn't be protected, I should say, because there's not enough good people out there, to be honest with you, that wouldn't throw a guy on Saturday when he was expected to start on Monday with his high school team. So, I agree with that in the high school level. Now, middle school is a little bit different. West Virginia, it's band-aided by county. So some counties have middle school baseball, some counties do not. And it kind of inhibits the development of the middle school players because a lot of times they don't get as many games, they don't get as much practice as they would have if they would have played, both. But you still get the situation where people will run kids into the ground. So I think in the middle school ranks, they should be allowed to do both. But high school, I agree with the SSAC's ruling on that you can't. I also don't mind the deal with the coaches not being able to coach in the summer because what you get a lot of times with that is you get teams that just stay together 24 or 12 months out of the year. And, they're quote unquote a travel team for 9 months or for 10 months or 8 months. And then for, 4 months, they're a high school team. So, that kind of inhibits what I'm able to do to go in and pick a top quality player who may not come play for me because of his high school. He could play for his high school coach 12 months out of the year. So I don't necessarily disagree with that part of it either. And the SSAC in West Virginia has made a ruling this year that they're going to push everything back a few weeks, and the state tournament now is not going to be till like the 26th or something like that of June,
yeah.
Which I'm definitely against. Not against that they're going to push it back and get their full season, but the way West Virginia does it, it takes them a month to play sectional, regional, and state tournament, which is in total about maybe 9 games. They could have condensed that into 2 to 3 weeks. They do it because they start sectionals normally in early May, and so it's a rainy type season, and so they get rain delays. But if they're going to start in June, there's no reason they can't go back to back weeks on that stuff. Really, it's kind of frustrating, especially for some of these kids that are going to be juniors or that are juniors this year, they'll be seniors the following year. This is a big summer for them. And it could change a little bit with the state tournament being moved back. It's tough for college coaches to get out to see high schools for the simple fact that they're playing at the same time high school's playing.
Sure.
With it being pushed back to June, it may be a little bit different. But, if I'm Coach Wagner at Marshall, or if I'm Coach Britt at Charleston or Lloyd at State or whatever, and I can go watch these 2 high school teams play that might have 3 guys on there that can play for me, or I can go to wherever, Indianapolis, drive 4 hours, and two teams there may be 25 guys on two teams that can play for them. So it's just a tough sell for those guys. Everybody's in budget crisis now because of the COVID, not getting games. Last summer they're having to be real creative with the live streaming and trying to watch kids that way. So I mean, it's tough to justify as a college coach to go watch a game where I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 kids that can play for me when I can go watch a bunch more in a tournament type setting at Grand Park, or something like that.
Absolutely. You make some good points. I mean, from talking to the coaches on here, they they say a lot of the same things. That you make good points. That when up here in Pittsburgh, we compete in the WPIAL, and and that's the Western Pennsylvania Interscholastic Athletic League. Well, you have your championships in that before you go into the states, and then you get seeded. Well, I mean, the crazy thing about it's like you said, you could, they take, the top 16 seeds and all that. And if you're a top 4 seed, you wait 10 days to play while they're doing all this other stuff. So, I mean, and we've been at Mars, we were always a top seed and everything like that. So, I mean, what we do is we go around and we play the top seeds in 4A, the top seeds in 6A, just to get reps in, see the best pitching that you can. But, and trying to keep kids' heads that, they know, okay, we're in it and we're playing, let's go. To where a couple years ago, we were playing West Allegheny in the WPIAL quarterfinals, and they were the number 1 team. They had Austin Hendrick, who was drafted by the Reds, and with the 12th pick this past year. And, we end up going 11 innings to beat them. And you know what? You can't move on without winning, and that. To then, instead of 10 days, here we are. We got to play the next day against the Shaler team that was, in our division. We had great games with them. We had beaten them during the year and all that, but they were all set up pitching wise. And, it's like, here you go, sophomore. You've never been out there in this type of situation. And, great kid and everything like that. But, we lost. And, hey,
it's funny, Coach. You brought up Shaler. It's a small world. One of my best friends in college that played with me, he played at Shaler High School in Pittsburgh.
What's his name?
Kurt Hensler.
I know.
His daughter's a really good softball player right now. She's Bella
is.
I think she's a sophomore, junior now, but I think she committed. I can't remember where she just committed somewhere. I can't remember where it was.
Yeah, Kurt was a really, really good player. Shaler always has good players. I mean, they are going back to in the 70s, late 70s and early 80s when I played and stuff. But it's just it's a crazy thing. There's a better way to do it. And the whole thing is, as well as I do, baseball wise, you want to go out and play. Hey, 2 days or something in between games and everything like that, you finish that you finish and you finish on time and everything like that.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, the kids that I feel for, it was almost like last summer with the COVID and the obstacles of being able to get these kids seen. And I'm on the phone before games with all these, here's the link, here's where you can watch, blah, 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 send video. These coaches, I know how it is. They get hundreds and hundreds and if even thousands of videos every day by email.
Sure.
Well, I'm not getting a video of a kid striking out. I'm not getting a video of a kid booting a ball. I'm not getting a video of when they're not successful and how they bounce back from that. There's a reason that error is a column in statistics. It's because they happen and they're going to happen. It's just how you react to that. There's a reason strikeout is in a statistic. You're going to strike out. And these guys want to see what these guys do and how they rebound after adversity hits. And that's one of them, as far as on the field stuff, that's one of the things I hear the most of is how does he handle adversity? We talked about earlier, about the grades and, what kind of teammate is he, what kind of families he come from, blah, blah, blah. When you start talking on-field stuff, one of the first things they want to talk about is how they handle adversity. Because, listen, if there's players out there listening to this, these college coaches do not care if you want to whine and pout around. You can go home. They're not going to pat you on the butt. And it's not going to be easy. And if you're not used to that or you can't handle that, then you probably ought to figure out something else to do.
You're exactly right. You know what? And to just back you up on it, the coaches in here have said it, and live stream. It shows us a little bit, but it's like you say. You have to be there and see in person. I talk to my players. I talk to my clients all the time. I said, yeah, you're playing a game where failure is the big part of the game. I mean, major leagues, as well as I do. Hey, you know what? You fail 7 out of 10 times. You're a 300 guy. And you're a big guy and everything like that. And I always tell my clients, I'm like, coaches are there. They come because, bam, they think you can play and know you can play. I said they're coming to see you fail, and they're coming to see how you react to that. Do you take that called third strike? Do you turn, look at the umpire, take your hat off and wing it and everything like that? And the coaches, I mean, they're like me. I mean, when I coached, when I played and then went back and coached at UC, and every time that I'm out looking at my clients and prospects and all that, I am taking so much more in of the game. I'm there early. I see teams arrive. I see players who bring their own gear, and I see parents sitting there struggling with the kids' gear while the kid's sitting there, talking and everything else. All these little things come in. They want to see how how you, like you said, how you are as a teammate. Something bad happens to you during the game or your teammate during the game. Get out there, be that leader. Hey, man, come on. You know what? We'll get them next time.
That's what we talk about, picking them up all the time.
That's you in the field. You know it, and I know it.
Next man up.
Exactly. So, I mean, I really think that, we brought some good insights. And you know what? I'm going to bring you back on here a little later in the year when you have your kids and are going. I know you have a Zoom call tonight. Yep. My kids have been in strength and conditioning. They're in their 8-week period of that and everything. And then they're doing their arm and velo camps and all that right now. So they're getting ready, and we'll have some practices January to March. Turn it over to the high school guys and go. But I definitely am going to have you back on. I love your insight, Coach, and
appreciate that.
Your passion.
Well, one of the things we do, and we did all year, I've been doing this since the COVID last year, these Zoom meetings that we do about every 3 weeks right now, we give these kids, especially, it's kind of neat for them because they're, like I said, they're all freshmen or sophomores at the most, 15 years old. But we bring a different college coach on every night, every Zoom meeting to talk to the kids and then open up a Q&A. Tonight we got Coach Sean Lloyd at West Virginia State that's going to be on there with us. Last week we had the last Zoom meeting, we had Coach Britt with the University of Charleston. Those guys doing those favors for me means a lot to me, and I just want to throw those guys a shout out here.
Sure.
The West Virginia baseball game, Coach Wagner's helped me out, Coach Newman at Penn State. I mean, we've had, I can't keep going on and on and on, but there's just, this is kind of a family on the other side too. We talk about being a family as a team. It's these guys are guys that I trust and guys that I can make phone calls to. And I mean, shoot, Coach Lloyd, for instance, signed a kid or got a kid signed early signing period, a few weeks ago. he's a great player. But Coach Lloyd never seen him play. He offered him because I called him. So,
Absolutely.
Those kind of relationships mean a lot to me, and I just want to kind of give a shout out to those guys. I know this is going on West Virginia Baseball Connection, so I just want to let those guys know how much I appreciate them and all they do for me.
You'll be surprised how many people I've had. Marty Davis, everybody. Hey, the videos, and tell Coach Lloyd that Coach Davis said hello. He has a few of my guys and everything down there too. I have a lot of football guys at State too. And Quincy Wilson and I do a lot of talking. But yeah, it is. I mean that's why I'm doing this, and I'm actually going to do some live stuff, and I'm actually setting up with all my clients. I'm going to do like a coach, like a video. Okay, here you go. Here you're going to sell yourself. I'm going to talk to you like a college coach, so that coaches can have that thing of, okay, you know what, I'm getting a feel for the person off of it and off the field and everything. So, I mean, you're creative. I am. I'll tell you what, I'd like to get together and, I know you guys are not far from us, so we'll have to sit there and maybe get together during a week and get some games in.
Yeah, I come up to Bridgeport once a week to teach lessons, so I'm not too far from him when I get up there. About an hour and a half from Bridgeport to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, about an hour, 40 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So I come up there once a week to teach lessons, but that's another thing. I know this is going on West Virginia Baseball Connection. I'm going to throw a plug in for myself. If anybody's looking, I do have some spots available in the Huntington area. My number is 304-521-3297. It's limited spots, but we do have some openings right now going into the first of the year. So if you're interested in getting lessons, you can contact me.
Guys, there you have it. Craig Brumfield of Ohio Elite and formerly West Virginia Gamers. It's been an honor, privilege, Coach, to have you on here. I'm sure that we'll be in touch and crossing paths and everything. And anything that you need, you have my number. And I will do the same and reach out to you.
Anything you need, I'm a phone call away or text away.
Sounds good. You and your family have a Merry Christmas, and go get some football in for the rest of the day.
All right, Coach. You have a good day. Merry Christmas.
You too, Coach.